So yeah, we can really just jump into it, Guy. Maybe you can tell me a little bit more about what made you decide to start a course or jump into a course and start a business.
Okay, so essentially, as I'm pretty sure a lot of the people on the community know, I am a nurse and I work here in Australia, and working full time was getting very exhausting. Financial state, my partner lost his job, sadly. We were the lucky ones where he kept sort of getting just, casual gigs, and the casual gigs were actually full-time hours on the casual contracts. But essentially I was sort of thinking, where am I going to be years down the line with kids and a mortgage? I didn't want to work full time my entire life, which I see a lot of nurses doing, and I'm just not one of those people. Not in the sense of I'm lazy, more in the sense of I know there's another way.
Yeah.
And I reckon the way that I was feeling was very burnt out. And because, you talk about compensation and hazard pay and looking after your employees, and I just felt like that wasn't happening.
Yeah.
So on top of everything else that I felt, that pushed me even more to seeking something else.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying I want to leave nursing. I love it. It's my passion, but I definitely want to reduce the hours and be able to be financially secure otherwise, because I am planning when we're opening up to travel the world. I'm young. I have that, I've got that vision for myself to travel the world with my partner. And I
Hmm.
want to be able to know that I will be financially stable for the next 6 months where I'm out. So that to me was my main goal. I was looking at drop shipping, but that ship quickly sailed because I didn't even try it. I did way too much research on it and I just didn't even want to touch it.
Hmm.
It was way too investy, and a lot of my money would have had to go into it that I did not have to spare. So then obviously internet works in a way where it reads what you're doing, and it brought your ad up on
Yeah.
YouTube. And I pretty much said, my partner works in film actually. So
Okay.
he is currently, he nailed this incredible full-time producer job. So he's a producer director. And essentially what I've been learning for the last few years of being with him is that this is being done for years and it works. And it's the norm. It is how things work. You pretty much you outsource jobs and you make money off it. So I saw your ad and I was like, all right, I don't know how to do this on my own. So I said, I'm going to invest this initial investment in your course and know that I will get it back, knowing myself, my personal ability to do this. So I did it. I bought your course and here I am.
Yeah. Okay. Well, tell me a little bit more about that experience of, buying the course and jumping in and going through those initial weeks really of building a business. What was that like?
It was a rush. I will
Yeah.
say that. It was very, I was telling my parents about it, I was telling my partner about it, and, my friends, and just being like, I can't believe I'm doing this. This is amazing and scary at the same time. Um, but I was just so determined, so determined to get myself to a point where I could go part-time at work. Working through those first weeks, building my website, which was super fun, by the way, building my website and going through the course and learning the ins and outs and just understanding that I can actually do this. And it's not like it's a lot of work, but it's not that hard, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
I was just so dedicated. I was so ready to just do this. And I did it. I had my website up and running within 3 months after working full time. And I made my first sale right before my 24th birthday. And that to me was the initial goal that I had for this business was I want to make my first sale before 24. And having done that was like the most amazing feeling. It was the best birthday present I could ever give myself.
Yeah.
And, not only having a first client, but having a client that kept coming back. Like we were in the middle of his big project and he kept coming back for more, kept giving me more. And it was like ongoing work from him. And it still is happening. He's taking a bit of a break, just financially gathering more money up. But the next project is going to be bigger and more financed. So I'm looking forward to that. Of course, that happened. And you sort of get to a stage where everything sort of fell into place. But obviously, I was still working full time. And then I was really trying hard to get my next client. And I think people don't really understand that getting your first client is actually the easy part. And then getting more is the harder part. So it's been about 2 months. Now, the reason that I probably haven't gotten the next client super quickly was, one, fear factor. I actually got my first client through an app where they come to you. So that was like the easy way out, right? So he just came to me and I just sold him on my company. That was pretty much it. And then obviously the fear factor of sort of reaching out to people, being like, am I saying the right thing? Am I saying it appropriately? Am I, sinking my ship before it even sailed? It was very scary for me because I've never really thought that I could do email marketing. I never really thought that I could put copyright into play because my partner is the one who does all the writing most of the time, not me. So initially I was like, oh, I don't know. We'll try to do this. And I started gathering some emails, started gathering some intel, and I just never really, because I was so busy with the client on multiple projects of his, I was trying to find the time to do it, but as well with work and especially with the hashtag casual situation, I think I definitely sort of slacked a little bit and lost momentum, especially given, I'm pretty sure I posted on the group saying that I had a bit of a situation with one of the freelancers. With them pretty much screwing me over and having to find another freelancer straight away. And thankfully we sorted it out and PayPal did help me. It did give me most of my money back, which was nice. And,
great.
And yeah, so I am going through Fiverr always now. Not gonna lie, I am going to, until I reach a level where I'm set in my knowledge and know that I have collateral damage money aside, I'm only going to pay through Fiverr and make sure that I get clients who can pay me the right amount of money. So essentially I slacked a bit because of that. I had a bit of like a demotivator, if you want to call it that. It was like, oh, am I losing money? Because it took 30 days for the money to come back into my account afterwards. And that sort of put me in a bit of a rut. But then I was like, you know what? This is stupid. You're being stupid. I pretty much just said, the shit's going to happen. You're going to lose clients and you're going to get people screwing you over and you're going to lose money in the first year or two of your business. And every year onwards, it may not be as substantial, but still losing money. So I perked myself up and I said, just do it. Now, your course is amazing, right? Obviously, when I hit that rut, I wouldn't say like stopped, but I definitely forgot to go back to the course and keep listening to the videos and just keep learning more and more and more about the outreach part of it all, right?
Yeah.
Essentially, I was like, hang on, pause. There's not just email marketing. There's not just Bark. Let's go to LinkedIn. Let's go to Facebook. Let's go to Instagram. And, let's go to the videos and start following that again. So finally got Duck Soup and started my LinkedIn marketing. And I am now happy to say that I have 2 new clients from LinkedIn straight off the bat, like within the first week of doing Duck Soup. And It was like one after the other. So I was like, holy shit, this is working. This is great. And so that's pretty much where I'm at with the course and what it's given me so far. And I'm feeling amazing. I've even got a client that I'm closing down tonight. So it's really, really great. So that will be my 3rd client in a row, which is
awesome.
Cute.
Yeah, that's really awesome. I mean, it's always funny as well because when you start a new course and you jump into the content, you implement it, you get to a point where you've implemented a part of it and then you're just kind of going through the motions of doing what you've already learned. And then you kind of forget to go back and watch the next step and the next step because it takes you forward a little bit more, but you almost feel like you don't need that content yet because you're only up to a certain stage of it. So it's always like that. I mean, even when I took my first course back in 2015, I paid like $5,000 for it. And when I joined it, I literally did the first 3 weeks of it. And I started getting sales after a few months from doing that. But I never really went back and looked at the rest of the content again after that. So it's always like that. That's cool. But I think the most interesting thing you said, Guy, is, when you jumped into the course, you were determined to make sure that it happens, to get that success. And that was the same for me. I think everyone that gets success with any course out there, they just have that determination to make it happen. They're more focused on, their actions and kind of like not not thinking that the course is going to do it for you, but you're going to use the course to do it for yourself. I think that's the most important thing, because that's the thing that really puts the pressure on yourself to take action. And like you said, with the blueprint, you don't really have that daily, one-on-one. You can only really talk to me once a week, I guess, on the live streams, and then post questions in the group, of course. But you need to still put that pressure on yourself on a day-to-day basis to take the actions. And it can be difficult in the beginning when, you don't know everything. You don't know everything. You have all of the content there in the course, but there are a lot of videos to go through and you only have so much time in a day. So it can just be about that planning and putting the effort in yourself. So that's really awesome that you've been able to do that. So it was really interesting as well, because you got your first sales pretty quickly after you launched your website. It's quite funny. You mentioned the client has done, 5 projects with you so far or something like that?
Yep.
Wow, that's quite a lot just from your first client. So that's that's really awesome, because when I first started, I think I got my first clients, they didn't really come back again to me. I didn't get a lot of repeat business until probably a year into doing it, So you're making much faster progress than me, which is good, because it means my course is working. It was better than what information I had, I suppose, or how good I am. But yeah, that's awesome. So I think the next step for you is really going to be mastering the marketing side of it and outreach, like you said. And I mean, you started Duck Soup and you're already getting responses that quickly. That's a really good sign. You must be a really good saleswoman or something, because that's very fast. Those are very fast results. Okay, cool. So I guess the next thing to kind of focus on would be what you're currently doing in your business. Like, what are your current marketing strategies? What are you currently doing? You're selling videos primarily. Are you thinking of adding additional services to that?
I am. So I think initially now, especially since my second client that I've actually gotten last week, he is planning on putting me on a monthly retainer. Okay. So he's getting investors for his company. And the reason he's doing that is because I pretty much upsold him during our first consultation. Essentially, I was like, all right, so we're going to make your first 1-minute explainer video. And then, you want to keep people coming back to your website. You want to keep people intrigued. And so I pretty much told him, you've got a cute little otter as your logo. We're bringing it to life in your explainer video. Let's bring it to life weekly. Let's do like a template video, put it weekly on your website, have the weekly joke or the weekly inspirational quote, and just have people coming back for these little things that make them happy. And, they have something to look for, something to come back to. And it's like, it's just this little otter just telling you a really cute joke or a really funny thing. And he was driving while we were having the conversation and he's pretty much like, okay, I'm driving, but can you write that shit down? Because I'm going to forget it. So pretty much that's the reason he wants to put me on a retainer. He said, once I get investors, it's a whole different ball game. I'm going to throw money in his words, I'm going to throw money at you on a monthly retainer and you're going to shoot out videos for me every week. And I said, let's do it. Because he pretty much wants somebody who he doesn't have to go and find anybody else. And he just wants a partnership with someone and that will take him through the entire way through his business. So I was like, happy to do so. Let's do it. In my mind thinking this money will get me funding to actually get somebody else on board, which will help me out because I'll have another person doing the work for me. So I thought, as a second client on top of the one that keeps coming back, I'm just like, I don't know how I keep getting these, but
Well, you're clearly doing something right. I mean, it's pretty cool. Yeah. So the cool thing as well is, once you get those initial clients, they already know, like, and trust you, like I say a million times in the course. So it's so easy to then carry them on to other services down the line as well. So, once you've actually built out your active campaign system and you've got those follow-up emails going out, the monthly newsletter that has different services on offer. And then, of course, like you're already doing on your consultation calls, just naturally, it sounds like selling them additional things that will put them on that retainer basis. Because what I usually find the best way to go is to sell something on the front end that's more of a one-off sale. So there's less of a commitment needed to purchase. But then after that, getting them on a retainer basis with some other service or carrying on that service on a retainer basis becomes much easier than trying to do it up front because they've already purchased from you. So
And I think going with that animated videos, I think digital marketing is the way to go.
Yeah.
Just because it kind of goes hand in hand. You're creating content for digital marketing. So it's pretty much saying, you're coming to me for an animated video. Hey, how about I do a digital marketing as well? And you can be under the same roof.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And you're realizing as well, and something that I realized pretty quickly is that these clients that, buy a video or buy a website design, they have so many other needs, and they just want somebody that they trust to do it for them. And once they already trust you with their money the first time and you provide a good service to them, they can't be bothered going and searching for somebody else if they know that you do it. But the most important thing is actually showing them the things that you do, telling them the things that you do. And I think most people skip that part. They don't really even try and offer additional services to their client. And that's probably the biggest leverage point once you're getting clients, is just to offer more stuff as many times as you can throughout the process, because you're helping the client by doing that. You're helping them because you know that you can deliver a better service than other people out there. And like you said as well, I like how you mentioned the freelancer that kind of effed you over a bit. Because I had that too. I mean, when I first started, I was selling animated videos, and I was working on Upwork, and I hired a few freelancers, and I think my first 3 freelancers were rubbish, and I was able to get the money back, luckily, because I worked via Upwork. So I recommend always doing that with new freelancers, and then once you get comfortable with them, then you can take them off of the platform. That's kind of the lowest risk way of doing things. But like you said, just working over Fiverr is a good way to go too initially. But you'll get lower costs as well once you take them off the platform, because the platforms usually take around 30%. Yeah, so long term, that'll be a good way.
My God, Fiverr charges a lot of fees.
Yeah.
It's especially if you're like having to translate my AUD to USD, the transaction fee is like huge.
Yeah, it's horrible. I think the best setup usually is TransferWise or Revolut on your website with WooCommerce, I think is the best right now. PayPal is horrible as well. Stripe fees are okay, but they're still pretty bad. I mean, the best way is just to kind of set up WooCommerce with Revolut. Or TransferWise is also awesome if you're just doing invoicing. You'll get the lowest conversion fees. And the cool thing about TransferWise is you can do all of your business in USD, and then you can withdraw in AUD, and you'll have you'll basically, it's pretty close to the actual conversion rate. That's why it's the best. And you'll save on so much fees. But I still use PayPal. I'm just too lazy to change. I also use Stripe, but yeah. Okay. So how much have you made so far in your business in terms of revenue?
So in terms of revenue, I probably have made around, how much is it now? Probably around 3,000. Okay. And a lot of it, everything is going back into marketing. Yep. And I've put about 200 on a Facebook ad. I haven't gone too far with the Facebook ads quite yet. I'm still sort of building up. I've decided now. So essentially, how you were talking about how you were building your capital from your daily job. I pretty much decided, because I was trying to get to a point where I have a deposit for a house and then trying to buy one, and it's just like a whole thing. So I was like, oh, I can't put any of my savings towards the business right now.
Yeah.
But here in Australia right now, the market is crazy. So I've decided to let it calm down for 2 to 3 years. I'm only 24. I've still got enough time to buy a house. And I've decided to pause where I am with my savings. I'm at a good point in my savings department. So I was like, all right, instead of putting everything into my savings, I'm going to put everything towards the business until I reach a certain amount of revenue a month. So for example, if I get that retainer from that client, then I can, stop kind of bring that revenue from my current work. But yeah, so now I'm going to be a bit more lenient with how much I'm spending on marketing and be a bit more free, because that was another fear factor for me. A lot of that was spending money, and how much money would go into the business. So I think seeing the progress has definitely helped me, especially in the last couple of weeks. And I've become a bit more sort of aware of the requirements and what it really needs to build a business, because, we say drop servicing, drop shipping, all this kind of stuff. It's not a joke when we say it's not free money and it's not easy money.
Yeah.
You do need to put in that initial investment. And I feel like that's something that people are like, oh, it won't be that much. It won't be too much. For somebody who comes in with financing, it's not a lot. But when you're starting out, like most of us on the group, where we're just trying to build a stable financial income for us, it can feel like a lot. But I feel like you need to take a step back and really do the work, really sort of work around with the numbers and bring them all together, put them side by side and realize, okay, if I spend this much and actually put enough in to build the business to a point where I get enough revenue to stop doing that, then it's worth it. It's definitely worth it, because then you stop. You can still work on your normal day-to-day job to bring that money back in. But once you get revenue from one or two returning clients with big investments, then you sort of see, okay, now I've reached a point where this is working for me and the money is still going back into the business, but I'm not taking anything out of my daily life, which is kind of where I'm sort of getting to right now, which is really nice. So I feel like, you're kind of thinking, oh, it's only been a few months. I'm not making that much money. It doesn't feel like I'm making that much money because every time I look at my bank account, some of the money comes out towards the business, right? So you're never really seeing that full image until you've written it all down. So, I wrote it all down and I was like, okay, let's pause for a second. I've made some money. I've made some good money out of this. So, it gives you that like little bit of a spark of hope again, in a sense. So yeah, it's felt really good, especially considering it's been 6 months since I've started the business and 3 months since I've gotten it off the ground with the website and everything. So I got to look back and be like, I am doing really well.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I mean, the thing as well is it's kind of like you're slowly taking off. It's like a rocket ship slowly taking off. It takes like you want to put a little bit in the beginning just to start the wheel turning, and then over time, what's the word? I can't think of the word. But basically it gets faster and faster over time because you want to start off with the cheapest marketing methods. So your social media outreach like LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and cold email will be the way you want to start. And that way you can invest around $200 a month to have, let's say 10 email accounts, sending out emails, using something like Mailgun, for instance. Then you could send around 2,000 emails per day to new leads with 3 follow-up emails. And then at that point, you should be getting, around 10K per month revenue, at least, depending on the pricing of the service. And then you're going to have a pretty decent profit margin with that to reinvest back into your business when it comes to the, paid advertising side of things. And then also building up, your freelancer networks, using those strategies from the course, and your social media marketing and getting retainer clients. So it's mainly about focusing on the cheaper marketing methods in the beginning because you don't want to lose too much of your investment trying advertising without verifying that your offer is working. That's always important in the beginning as well. I know a lot of people that try and just jump right into advertising or they don't do any marketing at all. But yeah, those methods like cold email are the most effective and most efficient because they always end up being cheaper per sale. So I always recommend starting off with that and then reinvesting your capital back into advertising and stuff later on once you hit those kind of 10K revenue numbers at least.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And what kind of profit margins have you been able to get on your sales at the moment?
Essentially, now I'm making about the actual sale and what it's worth. And I refuse completely now to just settle on a freelancer. I will only take the best within my profit. So even if it's, only, let's say I'm selling a video for 1,000 and I only get 500 back, to me, it's worth it because I know that client's going to keep coming back because I'm giving him really good quality. So it's like, you were sort of saying, oh, give 50% off, give this amount off. I've been doing around 20 to 30% off. And that's kind of been working for me because the client that I had initially, we worked on a promotion. Now we are going to start doing full prices, and these are them. And I reassured him that out there in the big market, he's never going to find anything this price because he was doing music videos. And music videos cost a lot of money in animation. Okay, they cost like up to $50,000. So I pretty much told him and sold him on the fact that, I'm only going to charge him this amount. And he was like, yeah, I get you. Because he trusted me with the first few videos and now he's pretty much sold on me. So that's definitely helping. And honestly, I'm getting to know how to understand the different qualities of freelancers now, especially looking at their portfolios, knowing exactly what to question and answer and just really, really judge how they're going to do the work for me. And I think the next couple of clients that I have right now are going to be very, very good. Like I think I have one of the best freelancers I've ever found, which is great. Because I told him, you're going to be my freelancer for this client. Are you good with that? And he said 100%. So we're good with that stuff. The main thing that I learned throughout this whole process is know your business, know what you're offering, know what the hell your service is all about. Because I went into this, even with my partner being in film, right? He does live action stuff. He doesn't work with animation. So for me, I straight away was like, all right, I need to know what the hell I'm selling, because I can't go into a sales call and just keep doing, hang on,
Yeah.
let me get back to you. It does not put any confidence in me whatsoever. So, I went and I learned how many words per seconds, and how many, like, what's the requirement, what the best length for an explainer video is, and stuff like that, so that I could actually, and this is how I pretty much got my last 2 clients, because I sold them on explainer videos, right? So in order to do that, I pretty much laid everything out. I was like, animation is the way. This is how long it should be. So save money here, save money there. Come to me. I'm low budgets. I've pretty much learned how to do that. And it's huge. Knowing your business is the biggest asset that you can have. And that's what I've definitely learned through here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so important. I think as well, people kind of, they focus on the wrong thing when it comes to understanding their business before they start it. They think that they're going to need to know all of the technical aspects of how to deliver the service and all of that. But that doesn't matter at all when you're building the business, when you're the business owner. What matters is knowing how to sell the service, knowing the important aspects to the client, why the client is going to want to work with you, what your service can do, and then understanding everything related to the costs of the service, basically everything to do with the project management side of it. That's what you need to know. You don't need to know all the technical aspects of how to deliver it yourself, because your freelancer is handling that side. You just need to know how to sell it and how it's going to be delivered, what that process is going to be, because that's going to enable you to sell it. And I think you said something pretty interesting as well when it comes to wanting to give your clients the best possible service, because not only will they come back for more by doing that, but you're also going to have examples from different niches that you're going to be able to use those examples to get more clients in those niches. Because once you've got examples in a particular niche, it becomes so much easier to start closing other clients in that niche too. So that'll be another strategy you can start implementing pretty soon.
So essentially, I was pretty much saying, we're talking about outreach and marketing and different strategies. The thing that we have to acknowledge, and that I'm seeing more and more, is that clients like the one that I just got, the one that wants to put me on retainer, he wants to put this on his website, and his website is bringing in thousands of people a day, and not only visitors, but members. So he actually wants to put at the end of the video, he wants to put like a special mention to my company and pretty much say, for supporting us in our so-and-so and initiative and blah, 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 right? So that pretty much puts my name out there. So we have to sort of think, it's not like email and LinkedIn and physically trying is not the only outlet. We got to think about the clients that we're getting and how we can utilize their resources to advertise ourselves, because it's definitely going to save us money. And, it's going to put us to a lot more people than rather the one email that we're sending, or the 2,000 emails that we're sending every day. Instead of getting 2,000 emails that might not be open, we're getting thousands of people seeing this firsthand on a website.
Yep, that's so key. I think people underestimate the value of referral and repeat buyers. Once you get that first client, you deliver a great service for them. They have friends, they have coworkers that also need your services too. So you just need to get them to refer you as well to that network just by asking them. And they'll usually be happy to do it as long as you deliver a good service for them. And that's something so important that many people don't do. And it's so easy to do for them as well. It's literally just sending an email, and then boom, you've got more clients. So I think that, that's really, really important. And then of course, like you said, if you can leverage, their website, for example, like having them mention you at the end of one of your videos for them, that's even better. So all of those things. And then also on top of that, if you can find the right types of clients that also have clients that you could help too, then you can get those partners to help you sell your services to their clients. So there's so many little strategies like that that enable you to leverage your client base to get more clients that are the lowest cost way. It's basically free clients. So there's no reason for you not to do that. It's kind of like the main point of focus should be on that once you start getting clients, not on cold email and all of that. Cold email and all of that's just to get that initial client. But from there to really build your business quickly, you need to leverage your client base. Yeah, so I guess the next thing that I'm wondering is, what are the next steps for you? What are you wanting to focus on next in your business?
So essentially, this is kind of what I've been thinking about this week, because prior to last week, I was just thinking about how am I going to get my next client, right? And now that I see that, okay, you know what, this is now starting to flow through. I'm getting more clients, literally one day after the other, I'm getting at least one client a day. So essentially my next goal is actually to reach a point where I'm not going to be overwhelmed with the amount of clients that I have, because I still work and I don't have every single day through the week. So to me, I really want to get to a point where I can bring somebody else on, and, I can at least bring one account manager on and hire a virtual assistant through Fiverr or something like that. So they can at least get, the information gathering and email gathering for me. And then my account manager can sort of, we can have half of the accounts. So that's kind of like where I'm getting at. So right now, essentially what my goal for this is to, currently it's a business, and it's a business on one person and freelancers. I revenue with a lot of people where I have, my own animators. I do want to reach a level where I can just hire my own animators and I don't have to just reach out to freelancers, and only when I have to, only when there's too much work and we need freelancers. But that's my big goal. That's my main goal for this company. So right now I'm sort of at the point where I can get clients. I know I can get clients, and I'm getting the clients. So, my goal is to get as many clients as I can to reach that end goal. And then after that, we'll see what the next goal is.
Yeah. That's the next step, I think, as well. I mean, once you've got your first clients coming and you're getting a steady stream of clients, starting to automate that process, especially when you're working a full-time job as well. So with an account manager or a project manager, the best thing to do, and for a lead generator as well, I reckon hire somebody in the Philippines. That's usually the best. I have some project managers in Poland as well, which is really good. But generally with a project manager, you're looking at like $5 to $10 per hour. However, you can also, another thing you can do that's a little bit more sustainable is pay them per project. So you can come up with a per project rate, and that's something that you can do with somebody who already has some other projects or other gigs that they're working on, but they just want some additional hours on something else. That's something you can get someone to do part-time, where you're not needing to commit so much and hiring one individual for one job. So that puts a bit of pressure on you to constantly have work for them. You can more do a project-based thing. And I think that would be the best way to start off with. And then the lead generator or the virtual assistant, you would probably hire via onlinejobs.ph. And you can probably hire someone for around $2.50 per hour to $5 per hour to do that for you. And you can just train them up using working procedures that you build based on the content that I teach in the course. That would be the next step, I think. But yeah, as long as you're getting consistent clients coming in, you can start automating that more, because it really is to get the whole point of this business is just to get to the point where you don't need to be working in the business, doing, all of the lead generation and project management and even the sales calls yourself long term.
Yeah. That's where I'm trying to get.
Yeah. And I think the other thing for you, Guy, will be kind of systemizing your marketing, because you just started doing that now, but you can get more into the like getting your cold email and your social media outreach going more consistently, building it up, scaling it up, optimizing your offer. Obviously, it's already working, so you just need to turn that more into a system and then automate it with a lead generator. And then you're off to the races, really, I think.
Yeah. Looking at it and just putting everything in perspective, I think it's more than possible for me to reach that.
100%, yeah. Based on what you've already achieved so quickly, I think you definitely can. So I'm looking forward to seeing your progress. We'll have to get on another call once you hit that first $10,000 per month level.
Definitely. Looking forward to that.
Likewise. Awesome. Well, thanks so much for doing this interview with me. I look forward to posting it in the group and sharing the content with everyone. And I'll talk to you soon.